This is a mountain bike video, so what are we doing in downtown Seattle surrounded by bumpy, tourist, and hipster coffee? We're here to talk to Kevin Walsh, the owner and designer at Evil Bikes. More to the point, we're here to look at this new bike, the following. See, this is a bike that Walsh didn't want to build. This is a bike that's not supposed to be. It's a 29er in a 650B 27.5 world, which leads to the question, what the hell was this guy thinking? I'm Vernon Felton. I'm the senior editor at Bike Magazine and BikeMag.com. You're watching Blueprint.
Our first stop was Super Big Creative, Kevin Walsh's ad agency and home to Evil Bikes, which has a staff of just 5 people, 6 if you count Dave Weigel, who engineers their suspension from afar. It's a cool spot, I mean beer taps at work, but it's really just a place where emails are sent. To truly understand this new bike, we needed to visit Evil's top secret testing facilities. So here we are, the place where the following was shaped. The guy on the bike, that's Luke Strobel, Evil Pro, and clearly no slouch on 2 wheels.
All right, dude, I gotta ask. First question, who are you? Because you're basically the Kaiser Soze of the bike industry. I've heard at various times that you are like a professional caliber blues musician, designer, engineer, ad agency man, handled the Seattle Seahawks, Jones Soda, and wait, you are somehow like a bike company owner and designer. You are either a pathological liar or the most interesting man I have ever heard of. Who are you? Seriously.
I think it's safe to say I'm a masochist. So I do all those things.
Sure, okay.
And the reason they work is that I guess through my experiences and my other business, Super Big, which is my design firm, it's just kind of connected me through multiple networks and different skill sets that I have.
You guys came blazing out of the gate in 2008, right? You had this bike that everyone is talking about, Revolt. You had Stevie Smith, you had Vanderham ride it, big names. People got on the bike, were like, holy shit, this bike's amazing. But then you also had bikes breaking, right?
Oh yeah.
And you had bikes breaking, you had like warranty issues, so like, there's also like a little bit of a cloud hanging over Evil, right?
There are people going, you look at some of the forums with our uprising, right? Like we had that last year at Bible, and we put up the review, and people said, and we actually questioned it too during our roundtable review, and said basically, this is a bitchin' bike, but rides super well, and we love it, but like, can we trust it? I think that's a valid question.
We had to ask that question given the history. So,
yeah.
I guess 2 questions. What happened in the first place, and then what's changed?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. When we first started, we had, 40, 50, 60 years of collective experience between Todd, myself, Gabe, and Dave Weigel. And, we came into it with what I felt like, pretty secure. We did our homework. We were working with who we thought was a really good supplier. And, at the end of the day, we got burned. And, there wasn't much we could do.
You mean the factory wasn't making the bikes right?
They were not making them correctly, and no matter how many times we flew over and who we employed, we found the same problem. And ultimately, it came down to salvaging the company was leaving that factory.
There are a lot of good 29ers out there, a lot of good bikes out there. So my question to you is, what makes this bike different?
My design criteria was really to say, hey, can we recreate the Uprising's playfulness? And that really started with using, a 16.8 chainstay, the 12.8 inch bottom bracket, the longer top tubes, 51 millimeter offset, on the fork, and a really low standover height. I wanted something that pedaled really good, it continued to be a good climber, but then was like kind of an all-around trail slayer.
Kinematically, it pedals very nicely. It settles in there, doesn't bob too much, and when you get on the gas, it really does go. It's punchy and playful.
But that's interesting, punchy and playful. Were you aiming for that? Because again, like people in their minds, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you didn't think that 29ers could be punchy and playful. Were you aiming for that when you sat down to design this?
Yeah, every single one of our bikes, that's like the key characteristic is we sell fun and we sell that experience, right? That's what it's about. And I was, again, skeptical that Dave could do this. This bike is a complete surprise to me. I was really against this bike.
You were a skeptic of your own bike?
Yes. I had ridden other bikes and I didn't think it was really achievable. There's so many constraints you know, that hold you back in a design like this. You know, the bigger wheels, trying to squeeze all the suspension, you know, in a very small, tight, compact area.
Everybody's kind of running away from the 29er train, you know? It's like, and you know, you're at a time in your company where it sort of needs to grow, you know? Like, you're kind of on the edge here, and you make a decision to go with a 29er rather than you could have easily sort of taken the Uprising and made some tweaks and make it 27.5, right? Like,
Yeah.
Probably sold a gang of them.
It's a ballsy move.
Yeah, and why would you make a 29er when that's you're right, it's a train.
It's not really the wise business choice, is it? Like, I thought you were a businessman.
More masochism. You know, honestly, what happened is that we looked at it and we said, well, one, the 650 bike, it was the low-hanging fruit, and we could have easily dropped that bike and we would have done significant sales, but it would have got lost in the sea of 650.
Are you going to change people's minds? Because there are people who are going to see this video and they're like, I'm not believing it. 29ers are lame. They're old for old men and who ride golf carts. Does this bike have the potential to change people's minds? And not change about this bike, 'cause it's not really about this bike.
No.
It's about, like, there's an entire class of bikes that people are writing off. They're saying all 29ers are lame.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I was that guy. I was that person. I was on the other side of the coin. I walked into this saying, Dave, this is suicide for our brand. But then I looked at it and I said, you know, it's like getting a Coke drinker to, you know, switch over to Pepsi. I didn't want to try to change people's behavior or their idea, but I think I wanted to open people's minds that if we could do this right, if we could indeed deliver on what the promise was, then why not take a look at it, you know? And maybe not condemn something first just because it falls into a category that may have been pigeonholed as old or XC or clunky or, you know, whatever, you know, the 29, you know, stigmas were.
And it's not like you're saying you're not going to do a 650V bike, right?
No, they're coming, and I don't know if my goal is to change people on the 29. All I'm saying is that it's really fun.